Hi, I am Matthew Ellis. I'm an adult content creator, and today I am sitting down with my good friend Daddy Carl, and today we are talking all things daddies.
Hi, I'm Carl. I'm the founder and CEO of Daddyhunt, and today I'm here with my good friend Matt, who is a content creator, and we're talking about all things daddy.
So, wait, were you a daddy back then as well?
Oh, I was a daddy. I was a daddy since I was pretty young.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did you start identifying as a daddy?
Well, mm, I think people started calling me daddy before I started identifying as a daddy because
Okay.
I never saw when I was younger. I never was really like, oh, daddy's something that I want to embrace, or I'm too young to be a daddy. But in my
Mhm.
30s, sometimes people would start calling me daddy, and then once I hit, I'd say like late 30s, 40, I realized that actually it was currency, right? That actually by being a
Right.
daddy or at least playing into people's daddy fantasies, that I could pull some really cute boys.
Carl pulls a lot of really cute boys.
Listen, as
Your pool game really surprises me all the time. I shouldn't say surprises because it's not the quality that surprises me; it's the quantity that surprises me. Like this man has stamina.
listen,
I'm a 35-year-old porn star, and you have more stamina than I do.
listen. I don't know about stamina. I mean, but I certainly step up to the game
You sure
because I
do.
don't know if I'll ever have that opportunity again. It's like
Right. So you just
I'm,
seize
I'm
the
like, I'm
day.
like, seize the day, do it now,
I
right?
love that.
I
Yeah.
mean, listen, in the gay community, you get nothing by being shy. Like you
Right.
have to literally throw yourself out there,
Yeah.
and you have no idea. One thing I've learned is that you absolutely have no idea who likes daddies and who doesn't. It is a mystery. You just have to sort of just put yourself out there and be like, dude, I'm here. If you're feeling what I'm giving,
Yeah.
then let's make it happen.
Okay. So like, if you are out and you're chatting to someone that you're interested in, how do you kind of lay the groundwork to determine whether or not daddies are their thing?
Well, sometimes, especially here in Sydney, people sometimes are not very obvious, right? They're with their friends. They're
Right.
sort of concerned about how they might look. Many times I'll meet someone out. I think, oh, they're not interested at all. And then I'll go online on Daddy Hunt or on Grinder. I use them all.
Yep.
And that person will be like, hey, what's up? And I was like, oh, we chatted 30 minutes ago. I had no idea that you like daddies. But he's like, oh, no, I do. I didn't know what to say. I also have a secret tell, which I don't mind telling, even though it
Okay.
might ruin it for the
I'm
entire
keen to hear
internet.
it.
Huh?
I'm keen to hear it.
All
Let's
right.
go.
So if I'm talking to someone and at any point in the conversation, and I don't know them that well, and I'm just like meeting them for the first time or second time, and if I am chatting with them and at any point in the conversation, they physically touch me. It could be the smallest thing. It could be just putting their fingers on my hand or on my
Yeah.
knee, on my shoulder,
Yeah.
any kind of
Immediate tell.
any kind of thing, and I immediately know they want some daddy
They're
dating.
into it. They're
Oh,
into
they're into it.
daddies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm sure
Okay.
you have your own tells too.
Um.
No, no. Everyone wants to have sex with you.
Stop. No, that is absolutely not
Oh my
true.
god, it's
No,
totally
no, no, no,
true. When we
no. That
went to
is
New
not true.
York, every other person that was there was like, "Oh my god, can I make out with your friend?" I'm like, "No," or ask him first at least,
Yes, which many people forget to do.
which they do forget to, and it makes me
Yeah.
very angry. Actually,
Oh, well, thank you,
I want to
Daddy.
protect dad. My daddy instinct
Yo,
wants
that
to protect
paternal
you.
instinct kicks in. I love that.
No, I want to protect you. It's not fair that just because
Mm.
they're drunk or they see you online and they think they have a relationship with you and they can just come up and do whatever. And you're very
Mm.
nice and you're very polite, but
I'm very
I
nice.
would slap them back. I'm telling you.
Well, thank you. It's
Yes.
appreciated. I do want to ask you about Daddy Hunt
Okay.
itself,
Yeah. Sure.
the app. Do you want to just tell me a little bit about like the journey to get towards the launch of that app and like what it means to you and why you chose to do it? Like what was the motivating factor behind it?
Yeah. No, it's a great the origin story of Daddy Hunt. So this
Yeah.
was a long time ago. I want to say 2005.
Yep.
And I had a friend of mine, and he had met his daddy boyfriend, who was like 35 years older than him, on a like old school chat board.
Okay.
And at the time, I was just like, I didn't even understand. I was like, how could there be? Because it was the age of Manhunt. There were lots of
Mm.
websites, and I was like, what's going on? What's going on here? And he said, oh, it's actually really hard for daddies and younger guys to find each other. And so there's this chat board that we were using,
Right. Okay.
and we started almost as if it were like a classified ad. No pictures, just hey, I'm a daddy. I'm this age. This is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I immediately said, hey, I think you've identified a need,
Hmm.
right? Clearly, if people are creating some dodgy classified board to connect
Yeah.
to each other, they're missing something. There's something about about connecting that's not easy to do on the other apps.
Right.
And so we started Daddyhunt, and this was again maybe 2006, and I didn't recognize it at the time because maybe I didn't have as much experience with marketing, but we had real momentum and growth. We grew very, very fast. It was free the first 2 years, and San Francisco, New York, Palm Springs, like these cities started getting real traction and real momentum, and people loved the community. We didn't charge initially, and then we started charging like 2 years in, and it was sliding scale. And the amazing thing was like a third of the people chose the most expensive tier voluntarily.
Wow.
Yeah, so they clearly were getting something out of it
For sure.
that was pretty special. And obviously the world's changed since then. There's all these apps came, Grindr came, Scruff came, that provide other ways for men to find each other. But back then it was really special, and it really had a lot of momentum, and it's something that we're really proud of. And it's a unique community because it's so specific and niche, right? It's hey, I'm a daddy. I feel comfortable here. I don't have to lie about my age. I can just put up pictures of who I am, and I have connection. I have community, and I don't feel like I'm an intruder in a space of other people. I'm in a place where I belong.
Is lying about age something that you have observed as typical in our community?
Listen, it's a
is there that stigma? I suppose it comes from stigma, right?
Well, I think to be honest, I think it's all a numbers game, right? Everyone wants as much attention as they can get. Okay. And I think there are a lot of people who they might just, without meaning to be, let's say, discriminatory in any way, they just might say, hey, I'm 25. I'm only looking for someone up to 40. 15 years, it seems like a reasonable amount.
Sure.
I'm open. But that person, if they saw I'm significantly over 40, they still might be interested in me, but they've set their filter to 40. Like it's just I think that there's people that you might exclude once you're over a certain age. And, everyone wants to have as many options as they can.
Of course.
I joke that I get twice as many boys as I deserve, but only half as many as I want.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. The numbers stack up.
They do. But I enjoy very much meeting younger guys. I love it when I don't have to work at doing anything other than being me, and they just love exactly me for being a daddy, for being exactly how I am. And
what do you think is the most appealing factor of a daddy to those younger guys that you're describing? Like, what is it about them that just draws them to you guys?
It's a good question. I think, in a very, I'd say, stereotypical way, a lot of times they want someone who's bigger than them physically, hairier than them, bald beards. Like they imagine that they're the boy in a porn film with a daddy. They want to sort of live out that fantasy. And a lot of them, not that everyone is submissive, but a lot of them are submissive, or more submissive, I would say. And they're looking for, the daddy to be the more dominant one. Although, as we know, there's lots of bottom daddies out there, and more power to them. But in general, at least the people that I find, like they want that archetype. And they're turned on by that archetype. And some of them, they develop that desire or that interest when they were pretty young. And it's maybe they don't understand it, or maybe they don't need to understand it, but it's just definitely an itch they need to scratch.
Okay. And if I can flip that.
Yeah, let's flip.
If I can flip the question. Have I flipped? Yes.
Have you flipped?
I have a handful of scenes in which I flip.
Okay. I haven't seen
Feel free
those.
to check them out.
I will believe you.
Yeah, you know me very well. But let's flip it. So you, as a daddy, a self-proclaimed Daddy Carl, what is it about the boys on Daddyhunt that you are interested in, that you target? Like, what's about the dynamic of that relationship that interests you the most?
Oh, it's a great question. In its best form, I find that younger guys are very excited and open about the world. So for them, everything it's like seeing it through the lenses of seeing the world, whether it's a gay world or just life in general through the lens of someone at a completely different stage of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that really exciting on the level of connection.
Yep.
Sexually, I'm into guys who are smaller than me, tend to be more submissive, tend to be less hairy than me. Like I definitely I have a certain type that I'm just physically attracted to, which
Of
happens
course,
to
we
be
all do.
younger
Yep.
guys.
Yep.
But I just find it a lot of times inspiring, at least for me. I'm not looking for someone who's the same as me in some ways, and I'm not looking for the boy to play the role of to somehow solve anything for me. Like, one of the reasons why I'm a daddy is because I have a super rich life that I've created on my own, right? I have independence. I'm at a place in my life where I have amazing relationships with my friends, with my family, financially. Like, I'm in a place that's very secure. I don't need another person to provide those other things that a lot of people look for.
Got it.
I just need really loving, good
you
times
want that
and
love,
fun.
you want that fun, you want that intimacy.
I want
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but I don't need
I
that
get
other
it.
person to complete me in any way.
Right.
Like, and although I find that there's always things that I can learn. It doesn't matter if the person's my age or a different age. If we're open to learning, we're open to growing, we're open to listening to each other, then there's tons of opportunities to grow.
Absolutely. All right, so tell me, Daddy Carl, what does it mean to you to be a daddy outside of the bedroom?
Yeah. So I try to be a daddy outside of the bedroom, but not just to boys, but to all the people in my life that I care about or people that I come
Me,
in
for
contact
instance?
with.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, listen, I think when I was younger, at least, I was struggling with a lot of things, right? Struggling to come out, self-acceptance, learning how to have healthy communication in my primary relationships, learning how to, find my way in the world in terms of career or job or friends, right? So when you're in your 20s and 30s, there's a lot that you're trying to build on. But if you do the work, if you're really engaged in creating a better world for yourself to meet your goals and your dreams, and also you're investing in becoming self-aware, understanding your own limitations or your own, I'd say, blind spots, then hopefully when you get to be in your 40s and 50s, you are at a place where you've accumulated a fair amount of wisdom and knowledge, both about yourself and about the world. And if you do that in a way that's nurturing to yourself, then you can find yourself in a place where you have a lot to give. I didn't have as much to give I thought I was a good friend, or I was trying to be a good friend when I was younger. But now I have the capacity to give a lot, right? Because I understand, I've been through a lot, right? I've been through successful relationships and not so successful relationships. I understand the work it takes to live a fully actualized life, and the work it takes to nurture relationships, even with people who you may not even like your family members,
right?
And so I've done the work, and I've come to the other side, and I've learned what comes there, and I have a lot to give. So I try always to figure out, how can I, in addition to taking care of myself and my own needs, take care of those around me, and what does that mean to support them? And I find that actually I can pay attention, and I know when people are just in their own heads worrying about their bad haircut, or whether they're available to actually support the people around them, and to say, hey, how can I support this other person that's here, and put those other people first.
This is what, for me at least, our friendship has provided the most value for me. Because
thank you.
I call you Daddy Carl. We haven't had a sexual relationship, but
haven't we? In my mind, I think we have.
Just in your mind, but in many ways, exactly that. You have been kind of a great sounding board, and just like a source of wisdom and experience that I struggle to find elsewhere. So I found it really valuable. So thank you for all of that as well.
I'm grateful. And it comes back to me too. Like, as you know, I've had struggles as well. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I don't have struggles. But the struggles tend to be very specific to a particular event or incident or something that happens, right? And I've been very lucky that the time I've invested in caring for other people when I have needed it, it comes back to me in so many ways that are amazing. Because I recognize that, at least for me, I'm 53, and I can go out dancing here in Sydney till 7 a.m. and feel welcome and included, and people are going to look after me, and I have people to have fun with, and they might be half my age. And
Right.
yet we're able to connect and we're able to share really good experiences. I mean, it's true. I tap out usually earlier than them, with the exception of Mardi Gras.
You usually outdo me.
Okay, well, there might be some reasons why I get to stay up that late, but I,
I know what you're
I
saying.
feel included, and I'm not looking at all the people who didn't give me attention. I'm just grateful for the being able to share the experiences and still participate
Yeah.
in our gay culture, because I worry that a few years from now, a few years more, I'm going to be like, oh, you know what? I'm not comfortable going out. I've aged out of those environments, which is why Daddy Hunt's such a great place, because the reality is that a lot of people get to a place where they're not comfortable going out anymore. Either they don't have the stamina, or they don't want to drink, be in that environment, or they're not getting attention. And Daddy Hunt provides a lifeline, provides a way for people who are older to go and have connection, to meet other people, to not feel like they're in a place that wasn't made for them.
Sure.
And so it really can be a real lifeline for a lot of people.
I love that.
So I think it's one of the amazing things about the gay community is that whether you're in your 20s or in your 50s, we all consume the same media, right? We listen to the same music. We are all still looking for love and validation in all the wrong places.
Right.
And really the lives that we lead are very flat, even though we have this giant age difference. And so it's not like our parents' generation where the parents are up here and the kids are here. Like, we're all in the same soup. We're in the same pot. And so if your mind is open as a young person or as an old person, there's so much that can be rich in that environment. And I can go out, as long as I have the stamina, I can go out with people way younger than me and have a great time. For me, I take a lot out of having those connections and being able to feel included, even with that big age difference. And Daddy Hunt also facilitates that, because it brings younger people and older people together. And there are a lot of younger people who are looking to learn about what gay life was like 20, 30 years ago, who do, not only are they attracted to older guys, but they're attracted to just that maturity, and they don't want to just hang out with people their own age doing those things. They want to learn, they want to grow, they want to expand their universe.
Absolutely. It sounds like it can be a really valuable experience for them.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it can create challenges too, especially on the, at least I've found, at the level of personal relationships, right? I can't expect, if I'm 53 and I'm with someone who's in their 20s, I can't expect them to be in the same place in their journey of self-awareness and self-acceptance and relationship skills. Right? It's just impossible, right? I mean, there's just certain things that take many, many years of work to learn. And so I have to learn to find a way to both, support the other person to grow, and also accept that they're not going to be in the same place as I am. And that's in many different, whether it's emotionally, or I'm not saying also that just the older guys are better or more evolved, because there's plenty who aren't, but there's always a difference, right? And there's a difference in the experience level and then the opportunity to have a certain amount of experiences and opportunities for growth. And so I have to remind myself that if I'm going to date younger people, I have to allow them to also be young, and allow them to make mistakes, and allow them to not meet all my expectations and needs and dreams, because they're young and they're learning and they're growing. And when I was in my 20s, I didn't know a third of the things that I know now.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, Matt, so why do you think that daddies are trending?
Daddies are trending. We have seen a lot of this on social media.
Oh my God,
We send each
100%.
other stuff, reels all the time, with guys seeking daddies or expressing their interest in daddies. I think the whole porn landscape these days has just evolved to become a lot more inclusive, and so that's broadened beyond your typical stereotypical young buff dudes to incorporate a much wider array of people and performers, and daddies play a part of that. And as you've suggested as well, like, people are interested in them. There's lots of sexual interest there. There's lots of emotional interest there. There's lots of intellectual interest there. So yeah, I think it almost is like a fantasy to lots of people, and that goes hand in hand with porn. So
Right, 100%. Although I think there's more of like the objectification fantasy than anything, right? People want this sort of idea of this like porn star daddy.
Yes and no. I've seen both. I've
You've seen
definitely
both? Okay.
seen, yeah, I've definitely seen that in the industry. But there's, there are performers out there who just are performing into their 40s and their 50s, and they're just loving life, and they're just performing because it brings them joy. It's
Yes.
something that they enjoy, and people love working with them. I've worked with a few, probably like late 40s, early 50s. A couple of guys, I can't say like many, but definitely with a couple of them. And that's never been focused on a kind of daddy son relationship type thing. It's just been, this guy's sexy,
That's right.
so let's get down to it.
100%.
Yeah.
Plus, we all know dick doesn't age, right?
Dick does not age. You
That's
are
right.
very correct.
If you have a big dick in your 20s, you're going to still have a big dick
Yeah,
in your
it's going to look
50s.
the same. Your dick pics, you can use your dick pics from your 20s right now because it's going to look the same, right?
Exactly.
Do you use your dick pics from your 20s?
No, not from my 20s. I've taken some.
You've taken some better ones.
Some better ones, exactly.
Camera upgrades, I suppose. Yeah, more megapixels, wider lenses.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, I guess what I can say is daddies definitely have increased in popularity and content, at least from what I've been seeing. Have you seen that translate into real life? Like, what's your experience?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think there's a couple things happening. So one, if you looked at the statistics, like now, like I want to say like 13 to 25-year-old, young people, something like 20% identify as like LGBTQI, somewhere on the spectrum, right?
Yeah,
Like there's just
a lot, yeah.
a ton more people who are younger, who are open to different forms of sexuality and sexual identity. And so I think it's a numbers game. You just have fewer older people, both because of the AIDS epidemic, decimating obviously, the generation right before me, and and maybe actually people were so afraid of AIDS back in the day that they really steered away from sort of any depictions of older people because that sort of that was the association. But
Right.
we're now in a prep world where where sort of people no longer have the same fear around HIV that they once had, or at least a lot of people don't, and they're able to protect themselves. And I think that opens up all sorts of other possibilities outside of that frame and that association. And certainly we're seeing it with Daddyhunt. I mean, we get thousands and thousands of people downloading the app every day, right? They don't all stay, or they don't all find what they want, but clearly there's an interest there. And I also think that Instagram in particular, right, has sort of like really created an entirely new paradigm for content creators like yourself to reach and have a relationship that's one-to-one with an audience that never existed before the whole
100%.
content creation world. And that's allowing people to explore all sorts of fantasies and sexuality, from daddies to content creators, in a completely different way. It's like there's new opportunity left and right, and people are just much more comfortable talking about their sexual interests, talking about having sex in front of the camera, or at least so I've heard. I don't know if you've heard about that, but it's,
I've dabbled.
So I think like just the world has become much more sex positive.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think as part of that conversation, daddies fit in. And now you can talk about the fact that like, hey, I'm into daddies, and I don't have to have the same shame and embarrassment maybe that I had 10 or 20 years ago.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about the demographics of Daddyhunt. So if I were to jump on the app, what would I expect to see? Who would I expect to see?
Well, you'd expect to see a lot of daddies and
Sure.
a lot of younger guys, I'd say under 35, who are looking for daddies.
Okay.
But not every daddy looks like me or looks like someone else. We have all types, right? We have younger people who identify as a daddy. We have older people, silver daddies, guys who have gray in their hair.
Yeah.
Some people go to the gym and are gym fit, and other people have just more, I'd say, regular average body types. It's sort of a place where everyone is welcome, and there isn't that pressure that you have to look a certain way, or it's really, people have conversations. They try to connect. Some of them just use it as their social network. It's their way of connecting to friends and meeting friends and building those networks. So I think it's a big tent. Daddyhunt, sort of, people feel comfortable, and we welcome everyone. It's a very inclusive place, but obviously it's the best place if you're younger and you're looking for a daddy, or if you're a daddy and you want to go to a place where you feel comfortable, then it's a great place to go.
All right, so tell me something, Carl, because when people think about a daddy, I think for many people, at least, their mind goes to a sugar daddy immediately.
Sure.
How does that fit into your app? Like, what's your approach there? Is that...
Yeah. So listen, I'm not going to come in and judge anyone for whatever they want, but Daddy Hunt is definitely not for sugar daddy dating.
Okay.
In fact, actually, Apple and other places don't allow it, so we have to sort of vigilant. So if people have that expectation, if they come on, they're going to get kicked out.
Right.
So we just have to be our members report people to us, and we make a point of really removing anyone who's looking for a sugar daddy explicitly. Now, if the daddy you fall in love with happens to, drive a Lamborghini and have a house in Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing we can do about that.
Of course.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.